Welcome back, Neon Nation. Let's get right into today's Cyberpunk 2077 news video. Today we're going to be looking at how CD Projekt Red is comparing Cyberpunk 2077 to the GTA series, in what way Cyberpunk 2077 will be integrating the philosophical themes of cyberpunk movies like Blade Runner, Akira, and Ghost in the Shell, and oddly enough how celebrities like Kanye West and Lady Gaga may be involved with Cyberpunk 2077 and what it could mean. So first off, we have a new interview with PC Gamer where one of the writers of Cyberpunk 2077 spoke about the role that philosophy will have in the game. We know the world of Cyberpunk 2077 will be politically charged, as it's the nature of the genre to explore this, but now we have confirmation that deep thought, self-reflection, identity in a world where man and machine coexist, and what it means to be human and other philosophical themes will be present in 2077. Stanis Wysicki talks about the difference between the raw, brutal, and action-packed elements of cyberpunk media and contrasts this with these philosophical styles. He goes on to say, some cyberpunk is more pulpy and driven by action, stuff like Terminator and RoboCop. But then there's a more philosophical side of the genre. Think Blade Runner or Ghost in the Shell. Our mission is to give players strong elements of both. You'll experience the thrills of using cybernetic implants and high-tech weaponry in combat, sure, but there's also depth in the story. We want to ask questions about what identity and individuality are in a world where people are so connected to technology. With CD Projekt Red's acumen for narrative design and story-driven experiences, these statements really highlight how well CD Projekt Red understands not only the source material of cyberpunk in Cyberpunk 2020 and 2013, but also the genre of cyberpunk as a whole. Blade Runner explored what it meant to be human on a fundamental level, and if replicant androids were any less human than we were, even though they were the creation of man with their own sentience and infused memories. Ghost in the Shell explored similar themes, with the protagonist confused about her fusion between a cybernetically enhanced body, her emotions, and her mind. Akira also highlights this with the more cerebral-based approach, mainly due to its ending and questions regarding the human spirit. These philosophical elements are what leads to emotionally charged stories and ones that make you sit and think long after a quest is over. Next, we have an interview which highlights how similar Cyberpunk 2077 will be to GTA, and if the free roam aspect gives you as much freedom to go off and do your own thing like GTA does. Fans have made some comparisons between the two ever since the E3 trailer, where even the father of modern Cyberpunk, William Gibson, essentially called it a reskinned GTA. Now, whether you agree or not, Miles Toast recently spoke in an interview and was asked if players were able to goof around in Cyberpunk's open world. Now, Toast claimed he could see how GTA and Cyberpunk were being compared at the early stages for Cyberpunk, but that he doesn't necessarily agree that they will play out in the same ways. He goes on to say, our game will provide a lot of side activities for you to engage in outside of the main quest. Whether it's side quests or encounters waiting for you on the streets of Night City, it will be crafted by us with a lot of love and care. Whilst it's very humbling to have our game compared with GTA, with Cyberpunk 2077, we're striving for a different story-driven experience. He also goes on to say that's not to say we will stop players from goofing around. Now, this highlights that story will be more predominantly featured in Cyberpunk 2077, and that main quest lines and side quests will be the bread and butter. I think CDPR is going with this approach because they've established that it's worked in the Witcher series, and also that complete freedom to do what you want may be a cornerstone to their online element coming after launch. Distinguishing the two may be the strategy CDPR is going for. Now, they did make mention that you can go off and do your own thing to a smaller degree, so I can't wait if this means we can do some sky-high parkour or scale a mega building from the outside with the Mantis Blades Mission Impossible style. Lastly, we have some details that celebrities may have a presence in Cyberpunk 2077 itself or in marketing elements of 2077. Reddit user Outsager spotted out that Kanye West apparently follows Cyberpunk 2077, which is relevant because he only actually follows 16 accounts in total. Kanye is a big Cyberpunk and video game fan, with his favorite movie being Akira, and his music video Stronger heavily inspired by Akira and its cyberpunk elements. Now, Cyberpunk 2077's Twitter also tweeted at Lady Gaga, which is somewhat curious. I don't see why the account would respond to any tweets celebrities make that aren't even relevant to Cyberpunk 2077, so it kind of begs the question if the two have a relationship beyond the tweet. Now, personally, I don't think these two would add anything to the game itself if they actually play a role, other than maybe voice acting, but that would be pretty costly and I don't think business-wise that's a big enough return on their investment. I don't believe it's music either, as CDPR has stated they're producing their sounds and music mainly in-house. Maybe they're trying to harness the power of these big icons' social medias to garner more followers, but again, I doubt CDPR needs to use guerrilla marketing tactics at this point. Now, Kanye being a big Cyberpunk fan, he could just be incredibly excited for the game, thus following it on Twitter. That's it for this Cyberpunk 2077 news episode. Check out the arcade for a ton more Cyberpunk 2077 videos and content.